Can't believe it's December. I don't know about you all, but the end of the year feels great because we're wrapping up and just kind of reflecting on what we've been doing, but also where has the year gone, and also looking ahead to 2025 and what's coming up. A lot of the time probably for a lot of business owners, it's kind of a time of stress because you're like, where's my next project coming from? And luckily I do have a few irons in the fire for the first quarter, but again, like nothing is ever like fully guaranteed until like the contract signed and everything. So definitely working on getting some of that new business going. I think this year was a great year for us for many reasons, and more on that later. In the spirit of Vlogmas, was thinking about obviously planning the wedding kind of content too, but also as a business owner and just someone trying to keep their life on track on the daily, I thought I would talk about notebooks, or actually just one notebook. But I did kind of want to take you to the history of different things that I've tried. Back in the day, I used this like pocket, like Moleskine is always really my go-to. And I used to use like a pocket, like 3.5 by 5, and I might have it stored somewhere. I feel like I'm a light hoarder in terms of like, I like to hold on to some things that are like sentimental, and I don't know if I'll ever look back on it, but I used to use like a Moleskine pocket, and it was like a weekly planner, and it has like another page next to the week for notes and whatever, but it was like the smallest one, which is like 3.5 by 5, and it was just too small. And then at some point I was like trying to figure out how to focus on projects and things like that. So then I was looking up all these different notebooks that was project-based, and so I had this I have my little handy stack of notebooks here just from the past, and I found this one online. It was called Tempest, and I got it because I was like, oh, it's gonna help keep me on track for all these different things. And to be honest, it was just not enough space for like what I needed. And I think I was just working on too many things. I needed something a little bit more overall, and then also like a little bit more big picture, but also granular. Anyway, so I started using it, and it looks like this, where it's like, you have the day, and then like you have top 3 tasks, but like action steps, I don't know, it was kind of weird. And then what if you don't finish it that day? Then how am I gonna move it to the next day or whatever? I did use it, I'm looking at it, and like it seems like I used a lot of it, but actually that's not true. I stopped using it, and this was like 5 years ago. So I stopped using it like midway through the year because it just wasn't working. So I tried that, it wasn't for me, it might be for some other people, because this is the one that I have now. But the thing I like about Moleskine is, let's say you just didn't have it together at the beginning of the year, or you want something that's longer. So they have ones that start like mid-year. So this one was like an 18-month one. And so this is the one that I actually use now. And then there was another one from Moleskine that I got during the pandemic, because that's when I really started thinking about content creation and wanting to do it, but obviously have my business as well. But I liked this one. It's called the Pro Project Planner, and it's like a nice hardcover, the bigger size, the extra large size. So I think it's like, I want to say like 6.5 by 9.5. It was cool because it had, I mean, I didn't use all of these features, but it had like monthly plans, and I'll screenshot all of this so you guys can see it. Monthly plans, goals, and then it had like this weekly plan area, which kind of worked, and it wasn't dated. And because I felt like kind of like a failure if I was working in a planner and then like I didn't do anything that weekend, it was just blank. And so I did like I got one that was no dates. And so like week to week, if I skipped a week, I didn't have to waste that like page or whatever, which is kind of silly if you think about it. And so now if I do skip a week, I kind of just use it to reflect. If I just don't use it, it's not a big deal. But it had like a weekly planner, which was great. You can like plan out your week, and then every day you could also like do something, or like write down your items for that day. And so I kind of liked that. And then I used this for like a while too, because there was no dates, and then there were some weeks that I just didn't use it. And then I think it's meant to be for like a year, and I ended up using it for like more than that. And I use this a lot. Like There's also a section for like project notes, so I took like meeting notes here. But the reality for this one in particular was that it was a little too big, and I do think they probably have bigger ones. But if you are doing like projects, or you have like longer term things that you want to plan out, you want to look at the big picture, and then you also want to plan it by week or like by month, they have a lot of those great options in there. So I don't know, maybe at some point when I get it a little bit more together in my brain and I'm not just thinking week to week, I might pick up one of these again in the future. But right now, this is my go-to for 2024. I am gonna get another one for 2025. This is, I think, the perfect size for me. I can throw it in my purse or whatever. And then it's the 12-month one, so it's like pretty slim. Like most planners, it has like the monthly calendar. So I kind of use that in the beginning of the year for like mostly birthdays or like big event days. I guess I could use it a little more often. I use a mixture of the notebook and also an app on my phone and also on the computer. It's called Microsoft To Do. I use a mixture of it just depending on my mood or like how frazzled I am, how much stuff I have on my plate, just whatever's working for that particular project. I used to get really bogged down in the process, and like I was like, okay, if I come up with this process or do this process, I have to stick with it. And if I don't stick with it, then it's a failure. And that's how I used to think. But now I'm like, I just have to do whatever is going to get the job done. I'll figure out what the most consistent is. And if I break from that consistency, it's not such a big deal. And I had to get out of that mindset and accept it in order to like continue moving forward. Because then I would be like, I have to find the perfect planner, I have to find the perfect application. And now it's just like a combination of whatever's gonna help me be the most efficient. For me, I find that, especially for digital, things with no frills, like very straightforward, not much deviation from like a normal just checklist. I think that works the best for me. I know some people love things like Asana, you can put so much detail. Trello, which is very visual and good for projects. I know some people like all of those things, but for me, those are like not straightforward enough. I just need something with, hey, this is the list. I can check this off a list. Maybe there's like a subtask list and that's it, and I can just make lists per project. So Microsoft To Do is great for that. I obviously make my own templates in Google Sheets and all of that too for planning weddings that I also share with my clients, which I will talk more about soon. But anyway, going back to Moleskine, I love it. They just have a page for ideas and goals, which I just realized I never looked back at this once I wrote it in the beginning of last year, which is interesting because, I used to wake up at 6:30 a.m. and these days that has not been happening. There's a little cute travel planning page, I guess, which I could have used. I didn't use that. What I like about Moleskine is they just have these like not random, but these like one-off pages sometimes just to jot down your ideas. Maybe you can make doodles. But in this one, it's not that many pages because it's like the 5.5 by 8.5 size. I think it's the large size. But yeah, I've been pretty consistent, like just flipping through it since January. There aren't many weeks that I've skipped unless it was like super duper busy. So obviously we have just 4 weeks left in the year. We'll see how it fills up, but the last few weeks fall was super busy, so I did use it and then I didn't use it. So, but all in all, I feel like I used most of it, so I don't have to feel like a failure. But I'm definitely gonna get this one, and it comes at a pretty good price point. I think don't look at my desk, it's messy. It comes at a pretty good price point. I'm looking now, it's the 12-month 2025 weekly planner. The large one, hardcover. It's 5 inches by 8.25 inches. They have different colors: black, emerald green, sapphire blue, and red, scarlet red. The black one, which is probably the one that I'm gonna get, so the weekly that I have is, they have the week on one page on the left side, little sections for the dates, and then on the right side there's like a full page where you can write notes. The weekly horizontal version, it has sections for each day, but it's the lined part is for each day, which I don't really like because I like having like a week's view and then whatever I have to get done that week, and I don't like doing it per day only. And then the weekly vertical, it's like by time. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think it's by time because it starts at like 8 and it has like lines, but that doesn't work for me because I'm more like a, hey, these are the things I have to do today, and I don't like to like set times for them. Although I need to get better at batching content and things, but this is really going on for a long time about a notebook. December is all about reflecting, organizing, trying to get prepped for 2025, especially as a small business owner. There's just a lot to think about, a lot going on. Now you know. Moleskine is my go-to notebook planner, as I'm sure it is for a lot of people. But yeah, again, for me, very straightforward, no frills, and that's really all I need. I also use pencil because I feel like the paper's kind of thin, so the pen kind of bleeds through sometimes on the back, and I don't like that. So I just use pencil, and then I can also erase stuff if I need to. It just feels less permanent. I don't know. It's just a me thing, I guess. I don't know what kind of products you use, but if you have anything that you like to use that makes your life more optimized, please share it in the comments below. Thank you for watching Vlogmas Day 3.